Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to another Kano Tryharding Modern. And today, I'll be playing the same Tron list. I don't think I'm going to be making any adjustments. I've seen a couple of Tron finishes in larger tournaments that have gone like 4 and 3, and I'm personally not impressed with the card choices. I understand that they were probably trying to tack to a specific metagame. I still feel the most confident in my particular list here, even though it probably still needs work. I haven't played in a number of days. I've been really busy, and I apologize that this video has come out a day late. I had a bunch of important stuff I needed to handle, and thankfully that's all done. I feel accomplished, and yeah, so let's go ahead and get this show on the road, shall we? I don't think I'm going to do too much of a deck tech today. I think everybody just wants to see me get into the action, right? Right? I mean, I've given the same deck tech like 3 times in a row now. I'll see you guys in round 1. I may regret not changing up my deck list. I just looked at like the MTG Goldfish picture of the metagame, and apparently it's a lot of control, so we'll see what happens. Alrighty. Round 1, we're against a Lura stack. We got Natural Tron, Karn, Surgical. We're keeping. Only way this got better is if we had bet on the play. So opponent starts Memnite, Welding Jar, Plains, Springleaf Drum, so they are the Hammer deck. They are the Hammer deck on the play with a pretty crazy start. Warping Wheel's probably going to be too slow. I just got this feeling that it's not going to do enough somehow. Players is mine. Pass the turn. Now, unfortunately, I don't think we'll have an opportunity to Surgical Hammer. Yeah, opponent plays a Stoneforge Mystic. They only have one other card in hand that we haven't seen. Obviously, they go and get Colossus Hammer. Then they go to combat. They hit us for 2. We go to 18. Untap. Draw an Ancient Stirrings. Play Power Plant. Pass the turn. Alright, Saga ticks up to 2. They play an Ink Moth. Unfortunately, just about everything we can wish for is going to be way too late. Alright, they play Pure Steel. They play Colossus Hammer. They get to draw a card. Then they play an Esper or they equip it to Esper Sentinel. They hit us for 12. We go to 6. Can I actually do anything here? Draw another Surgical. I can't get those out of my hand for Ensnaring Bridge. Oblivion Stone's going to be too late. Trinisphere doesn't do anything. Liquid Metal Coating, I could not do anything with either. So if I get Bridge, it at least stops things from that have hammers on them from attacking. But 1, 2, 3, 4... yeah, I guess I actually still just have to go with the Bridge plan. So the way that this works is if my opponent has basically nothing, and they attack us rather than attacking Karn at all, we could then wish for Oblivion Stone, but it's got to be like that exact sequence. I guess if I top deck Blast Zone, maybe. Not 100% on that one though. Oh, my opponent's just going to get Pithing Needle off of Urza's Saga, so this actually doesn't do anything. Our opponent had a pretty good hand, and they were on the play, which is basically the nemesis of Tron. So at least it wasn't like the turn 2 kill, and I got to cast some spells, but I have no way to empty my own hand. It's not like I'm playing Bottled Cloister, which is something I used to see in the Eldrazi Tron sideboard occasionally for like the hard lock with Ensnaring Bridge, but Shadow Spear, well, at least they can't equip it. Not while Karn still lives, anyway. So they don't have a main deck Pithing Needle, which I think means they have to attack and kill Karn. So if I get, like, Ancient Stirrings into a Worm Coil Engine, then they're stuck on trying to hit me with Inkmoth Nexus a lot. So they attack Karn, attack us, attack us. Alright. So Karn down, we take 1 damage, and we take 1 infect. Opponent plays a land. And another Esper Sentinel. We untap. We draw an Ulamog. Alright, so play a Forest. Ancient Stirrings. No, I will not be paying 11 generic mana, nor can I really pay this extra 1. So Warping Whale, Sanctum of Ugin, Expedition map. Guess I gotta take this Warping Whale. I mean, I could cycle Chromatic Star for green and try an Ancient Stirrings into, like, another Karn, maybe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and an Infect. But they'll be able to equip Shadow Spear. Actually, I think I have to get another Karn Great Creator, which means Chromatic Sphere here. Because Warping Whale does not prevent enough damage. Because they'll suit up Pure Steel Paladin, so if I make a token off Warping Whale, they can just kill the token. So I think I need to draw a Worm Coil Engine, actually, to live. And there's some chance that maybe Karn Great Creator could do it. Warping Whale anyway. Alright, Ancient Stirrings again. Now Worm Coil is no longer a thing. Karn Great Creator. That just kills me. Because they have 5 regular damage on board. And Grafdigger's Cage doesn't do it. I guess I could animate Ensnaring Bridge to block in the world's most awkward face-off here. Like, I mean, if they got a path, if they've got a... they can't Prismatic Vista, because they can't... Or they can't Prismatic Ending, because they don't have 3 colors of mana. I mean, like, if we survive and we can get Oblivion Stone and follow it up with an Ulamog, that could still win us the game. I mean, if they have Dismember... I think they just play Prismatic Ending, though. They might play a Singleton Path that would do it. This is the most awkward version of this matchup I think I've played yet. And I've played some pretty awkward games versus Hammer Time. Okay, they play a Saga. They go to combat. They don't attack. We untap. We draw Karn Liberated. I don't think that changes the play. I think the play is Sylvan Scrying for, I guess, a tower, right? We can do it like this, leave one left floating, get a tower, have 8 mana on board, play tower, and have 5 to activate Oblivion Stone. Yeah, alright. Nope. And, no. We will not be paying any mana to prevent this. I probably could have paid for that one, but you never know. There could be like a mana tithe or something. So get another tower. Play the tower. Yeah, I still can't empty my own hand. Oh, maybe that was... Hang on. I could Warping Whale, play Karn, uptick on myself, and then, like, Surgical. Would that work? So at 8, Warping Whale down to 7, play Karn, uptick on Ulamog, Surgical, and be at 1. Be at 1 life, no cards in hand. Is that better? I don't think so. Because there could be some... They could have, like, a main deck Fragmentize or something. Like, something weird I think I would lose to. Let's go ahead and Wish. Get an Oblivion Stone. Play Oblivion Stone. I actually did tap incorrectly for if they had Mana Tithe. I needed to tap a tower and leave the 1 floating. Because by using the 1 floating and the Mine to play it there, if they did have a Mana Tithe, I'd have to tap a tower and then I wouldn't be able to crack it on their turn. I'd have to crack it immediately, which is significantly worse. Okay. Saga ticks up. They go to combat. 1, 2, 3, 4 at Karn. 1 at us. Now, I could save Oblivion Stone activation, but if I do it now, they can't activate Welding Jar. Yeah, because this doesn't interact with... It doesn't, like, prevent regeneration or anything like that. I think we do this. Just because it stops them from using Welding Jar. It does let them play something here. Well, I could have Surgicaled, actually. I should have Surgicaled, just in case. Draw an Urza's Mine. So play the Mine. Play Ulamog. Exile the Flyer. Are they conceding? Alright. Alright, we got there. We navigated it, somehow. Even with our opponent being on the play, we somehow won. Okay, so 4 Force of Vigor in, All is Dust out, 1 Ugin out, Kozilek out, and a Worm Coil out. And try like this. So they are playing Silent Clearing, which probably means Prismatic Ending, of course. I would not be surprised. Prismatic Ending is very good with Springleaf Drum and with Silent Clearing, Horizon Canopy, those cards. This is a mulligan. This is a keep, but it's not a very good keep. 1 Force of Vigor, depending on their opener, may actually be enough to win. We'll see. Okay, opponent leads on a Plains, plays Sigarda's Aid, then passes. We draw an Urza's Mine. So play Urza's Mine, play Chromatic Sphere, pass the turn. So opponent could have Void Mirror here. That would slow us down. They play an Esper Sentinel and an Inkmoth Nexus. Okay. We untap. We draw Expedition Map. So this is a really weird and kind of conservative play, but I'm going to play like this. and just pay for the Sentinel. By leaving the Chromatic Sphere, I'm like showing my opponent I recognize they could have Void Mirror, and I'm playing like I'm scared of it, even though I'm not. So opponent animates Inkmoth Nexus, they go to combat, they attack and attack, they flash in a Colossus Hammer, they're going to target Inkmoth, so kill Inkmoth and aid, I think. Exiling Sylvan Scrying, I cannot pay for Esper Sentinel. This is bad if they follow up with like Pure Steel Metalcraft, but okay in practically every other situation. We take one, untap, we draw Warping Whale, play a forest, pass the turn. So if they do have Pure Steel, leaving Warping Whale up is, I think, the correct choice here. We can still pay for the Esper Sentinel. They play a Springleaf Drum. Okay, they have Pure Steel. They're going to try and... okay, they're equipping Pure Steel. Let's go ahead and exile the Sentinel. So I could have prevented that by exiling the Sentinel in response to the Springleaf Drum. Let's go get an Urza's Power Plant. Play an Expedition map. We basically just have to dodge second hammer here. Okay, opponent has a Seal of Cleansing, which they should activate on their own turn. Okay, they do. We do not draw the Tron land we need, so it's on to game 3. Well, that is unfortunate. Okay, game 3, I'm not going to make any adjustments. I think we're still set up as good as we can be, so we'll just run it back. I would like to play first. We need to draw a green spell. We have one cantrip for it, and if my opponent keeps a Void Mirror hand, this hand is fine. So I'm going to keep. Okay. So we're going to lead on Mine into Map. Opponent has Springleaf Drum, Ornithopter, Sigarda's Aid. That's really scary. We draw Tower. Well, play Tower. Pass the turn. Only thing we lose to is double Hammer. This is better in every other circumstance. Okay, opponent has Stoneforge Mystic. They can go get a hammer here. They go to combat. Yup. Unfortunately, while Blast Zone would be really good, we won't be able to activate it next turn. So we take half our life total here. We go get Power Plant. We need to draw a green spell. We need to draw a green spell really bad. Okay, play Power Plant. Play Sphere. Sack Sphere for black. I could play Worm Coil here, but if they have another hammer, we're just dead. So play Sphere. Sack Sphere for green. Yeah, so if I'd sacked the first Sphere for green, I could have potentially cast Force of Vigor here. I was hoping to draw a green spell. So let's see. Did I make a mistake there? So we have 4 Ancient Stirrings, 4 Sylvan Scrying, and 3 more Force of Vigors that we could have drawn. That's 11 cards that are green. Versus only 7 Mana Filtering cards. So we were more likely to have drawn a green spell. But if I had filtered for green initially instead of black, because for some reason I was like, oh yeah, we'll just draw a green spell, Force of Vigor, and then surgically extract the hammer, and then we'll be completely safe. I could have used Life for that, but the problem is if I did use Life for that, I'd probably get out aggroed. Yeah, because if I'd filtered for green first, then the two sets of cards are not mutually exclusive. So I should have filtered for green, and I threw this game. My bad, everybody. Alright, I'll see you guys in round 2. In my defense, it is late. I know I said good morning to you guys, because this will be coming out in theory, but I'm actually up really late. I was working on a thing until about 8 p.m., and it's almost 10 now. So I have used my brain a lot today, and I feel good. So I'm not like dragon, but I'm definitely not at the top of my game today, and I apologize. So we're going to see Yorian deck, and I cannot keep that hand. Much better. Put back Forest. So lead on Mine, play Sphere, pass the turn. So this is either the like Infinite Flicker, what is that card? This is the enchantment Yorian deck, basically. Or it's, wow, what are the odds of Abundant Harvesting into Abundant Harvest as your top card? This is either like the Yorian Flicker enchantment deck that like goes and gets a million different Blood Moons and things like that. What is that card that sacrifices enchantments to like Birthing Pod for their mana cost? +1 from Theros. I literally cannot remember. Okay, opponent gets Prismatic Ending. We untap and draw Power Plant. So, play Tower, play Karn, and we are going to go get Trinisphere here. And the logic is, because they have Prismatic Ending, if they have an untapped land, they can Prismatic Ending Trinisphere. If they don't, they probably can't answer Trinisphere, and then we just wish for Sundering Titan and the game's over. But they shouldn't be able to answer Karn unless they have a Detention Sphere specifically, or like an Oblivion Ring. They have Mystic Gate, so they can use Prismatic Ending to answer Trinisphere. Okay. So Trinisphere goes to the Exile Zone. We untap. We draw Sylvan Scrying. Okay, so we wish and get Sundering Titan. Play Sanctum. Play Sundering Titan. Sack Sanctum. Get Ulamog. Take out 2 of their lands. Pass the turn. I mean, we have 2 draws to top deck a tower, and if we do, it's absolutely game no matter what. But I really doubt they have any way to come back from that. Cool. And that Prismatic Ending versus that Trinisphere, in most cases, I think Liquid Metal Coating will end up doing the same thing. Shutting off 1 mana and just only allowing them access to 2, then they pay 2 mana for Prismatic Ending and exile your Liquid Metal Coating, and then they only have 1 mana left, right? It's effectively the same. They maybe could play a Dork. They might be able to like cast a Lightning Bolt or something. I have no idea what's in their deck list because it is an 80-card deck list, and a lot of Yorian decks play some jank, at least a little bit. So there's a question. What is my opponent actually playing? Let's see if there's a recent 5-0 Yorian list or anything. There is not. I've got this feeling I'm going to need Force of Vigor. Probably more than I'm going to need Surgical. I'll drop a Worm Coil. I think a Kozilek is fine here. I'll bring in a Veil of Summer. I'm going to go 3 Force of Vigor, 2 Veil of Summer. I'll try it like that. I don't know if they're playing counter spells. I don't know if they're playing like Spreading Seas or things like that that we may want to have Veil for. So, well, we've got Tron. We're on the play. We have no second green spell. But if they're playing Moon or Alpine Moon, if we draw a green spell, we can Force a Vigor. If they play like a Void Mirror, we can go get Yavimaya. Alright, we're going to try keeping this. Any threat makes this a good hand. I mean, if they keep a hand with Prismatic Ending in it and they answer Map, then that's kind of sad, but still not the end of the world, really. Okay, opponent goes Basic Forest, Abundant Harvest into a Coiling Oracle. So we know what their turn 2 play is most likely going to be. We draw a land, which is not what we want. Players is mine, pass the turn. Shoot, turn off auto yields. I should not be passing turn. What the heck is wrong with me? You know, if I wasn't pushing to try and get this out for tomorrow, this is absolutely the point where I would stop playing Magic for the night. Making a play mistake that huge right now would be catastrophic. Alright, well, they had the Prismatic Ending anyway. But, like, they had a good play even if they didn't, so... Playing the map was definitely the correct choice. But, the fact that I was like, we gotta do this, alright, we do not do this, wait! Like, it's just, Alright, so it's Soul Herder shenanigans. We get a Chromatic Star, play a Power Plant, play Sphere, sack the green, we get a Warping Whale, play Star, pass the turn. They play Prismatic Vista, then they play Coiling Oracle, drawing Coiling Oracle, then they crack Prismatic Vista, and play a Hierarch. We untap, draw Karn Liberated, so sack Star for green, draw a Forest. Okay, I'm going to play a Forest, and I'm going to exile Noble Hierarch and deny my opponent 1 mana this turn. Because, like, they could have, like, Saheeli Cat combo, they could have all kinds of stuff in a flicker. Any deck like this that's just trying to, like, flicker for value has a ton of tricks. Like, I know it's more likely that we're going to, like, Blast Zone maybe and take out the Noble Hierarch, but Noble Hierarch giving them 1 extra mana this turn, like, the difference between 4 and 5 mana is potentially very large. Well, they get to 5 mana anyway. It doesn't look like they have anything to do with it. They hit us for 1. We go to 19. And they play an Ice Fang Quaddle. What is this, Snake Tribal? We untap. We draw Yavi Maya. All the non-basics. Play Blast Zone. Pass the turn. Alright, pass the turn. I've not left up Force of Vigor to cast. I've left up Blast Zone, Tick Up, or Activation. And ticking up to 2, obviously, it answers their whole board. But, okay, they have Ephemerate. That is irritating. But I'm less worried about needing to Force of Vigor something this turn, because I have a second Forest. So, like, even if my opponent is playing the version of the deck that, like, pods or Eladmary's calls for, like, a Blood Moon creature or something like that, we can... Or if they actually have just, like, Blood Moon, and they can fetch it up somehow, we at least have Force of Vigor. Obviously, it's not very good against the creature. Alright, opponent goes to combat. They hit us for 2. We got a 17. Tick Blast Zone up to 2. We untap. We draw Expedition Map. Can I get up to 5 mana this turn? It is worth doing, provided, of course, this doesn't get countered. Eladamri's Call. Mystic Snake. It is Snake Tribal. Alright. Getting snaked, I guess. Play Sanctum. And I guess we kill 3 of their creatures right now. If I wait, they could flicker in any number of ways. They're getting to the point that, like, casting Yorian and flickering all of those cards could have been potentially very good. Opponent plays a Breeding Pool tapped. Opponent's 3rd Abundant Harvest into yet another snake. And a birds. Alright, they hit us for 2, take us to 15. So they're holding Solitude Snake. That's Solitude Snake. It's so dumb. Alright, play Forest. Play Karn. They flash in Quaddle. Draw a card. Wish. Now I could get Wormcoil Engine. They have Solitude, though. So I'm just going to get Map and play Map. Pass the turn. Okay, opponent plays a tap land into a Noble Hierarch. Last card in hand is Solitude, so I'm pretty sure they have to attack and kill Karn here, because Karn could potentially get all kinds of nasty stuff for him. Okay, Karn dead. We untap. Draw Forest. Sack Map. Get a Tower. Play the Tower. Play Karn. Sack Sanctum. Get an Ulamog. Uptick on my opponent. They'll just flash in Solitude. But I still... Oh, they're going to let me exile Solitude. That's interesting. I really thought they'd flash it in. Because I just went and got an Ulamog. But alright. Opponent untaps. They top deck a land. Has my opponent forgotten that they have a Yorian? I feel like my opponent's forgotten they've had a Yorian. Okay, no, they didn't forget. They're just waiting until now. They play Yorian. They can flicker Ice Fang, I guess. And draw a card. Flicker Ice Fang and Mystic Snake. Okay, no spells to counter. We untap, we draw a Sphere, uptick on my opponent's hand, get a Coiling Oracle, play a Forest, cast Ulamog, exile Yorian, and I guess Ice Fang. And we upticked there just in case of an Ephemerate, basically. Okay. So opponent could attack Karn for 1 to stop him from ulting. Okay, we got there. Whew, almost through 2 in a row. But we're 1-1, and I'll see you guys in round 3. Alrighty, round 3, and we'll be on the play. It's Tron against a Kahira the Orphan Guard deck, so this could be control. Lead on Chromatic Star, pass the turn. It is almost certainly control. Cycle Star for green. Get an All Is Dust. Sylvan Scrying. Get a Tower. Pass the turn. So, if my opponent's got a Spreading Seas, we'll be sad. And they do, because why wouldn't they? And we drew the Karn Liberated. At least they Spreading Seas the wrong land, basically. Pass the turn. Let's see what they play on 3 mana here. Because they could just, like, tap out for a Teferi, right? They're not going to tap for anything. We get an Ugin. Get a Yavi Maya. We're going to cycle our other star. Get another mine. Play a mine. Play Ugin. If anything gets countered between Ugin or Karn Liberated, I would rather it be Ugin right here. Okay. It is an Archmage's Charm. Pass the turn. Okay, opponent plays a Teferi Time Raveler. They uptick Teferi to 5. It's interesting. Then they play a tap land. We untap. We draw another tower. Can all his dust to take out Spreading Seas and Teferi, but honestly, I think we just play Karn Liberated. Like, that's gotta be right. Right? I'll play Karn. I really want to hit their mana base. Yeah, I think I'm going to. Pass the turn. Because, like, they can draw an extra card here with Teferi bouncing Spreading Seas, and they can take us off of Tron by hitting Power Plant. But if they miss a land drop this turn, they're in trouble. It also means that, like, they're not playing 5 mana Teferi to, like, tuck a giant Tron threat or anything like that this turn either. Basically, regardless of what happens. Like, land Jace would be bad, but, like, if that's their play this turn, then we all as dust and just laugh. And the reason that I did that over down ticking on Teferi was simply because they missed a land drop, they had to down tick Teferi, and then they played a land. So the idea is they probably don't have a land in hand. Otherwise, possibly down ticking on Teferi to maintain the fact that we have Tron right now is probably the way to go. Best top decks would be something like an Ulamog, provided, of course, that we have Tron next turn. If we don't have Tron, Karn Great Creator, I think, would be the next best draw. Otherwise, a redundant Power Plant or something. And in terms of which was better to take, Raugrin Triome or Colonnade, Colonnade may have actually been better. Because I think the only Converge spell they play is Prismatic Ending. I don't think they play any, like, Lightning Helix effects or anything like that. But that was kind of just reflex of how I used to play this game. It used to be important to deny your opponent's colors of mana, but it is less important to do that now. So opponent makes the move that takes us off Tron, which is reasonable. Okay, they did find another land. We untap, we get an Expedition map. So, play map. Alright, game's over. So we were going to go get Power Plant, all his dust to take Spreading Seas and Teferi from them, and then uptick Karn on them. So that went very well for us. So versus this opponent, we're bringing in Veil of Summer, and we're bringing in Force of Vigor. I'm going to drop all his dust, and I'm going to drop, I think, Warping Whale. Actually, I'm going to leave a all his dust in over a Wormcoil Engine. And we'll try it like this. There are occasionally situations where opponent has multiple Planeswalkers on board where they just tapped out for like their second or third one and all his dust becomes very good. I've not actually gotten Force of Negation all that much in control matchups lately, which is kind of interesting to me. This is potentially Tron. It's also a Force of Vigor all his dust hand. And we're on the draw, so I think I'm fine keeping this. Yeah, opponent doesn't, like, most of the recent control lists do not play Force of Negation right now, which is really interesting. Presumably it's because they can't take the card disadvantage on top of the way that they're already playing the game. Alright, if nothing else, we'll get another redraw. Opponent fetches up a Triome. Okay. They play a Hall of Storm Giants. Chalice on 1. We will not be getting another redraw. So, I mean, Chalice on 1 is good against us. Play Tower. We're going to pass. I might be getting up to 4 mana and hard casting a Force of Vigor, which is why I'm kind of having a pause for thought on this Chromatic Star. We can literally crack this star whenever we want. And maybe I should crack it this turn just to, like, up my chances of drawing a green spell or a Tron land. Yeah, let's actually do that. Okay, we get a Karn Great Creator. Untap. Get a Sylvan Scrying. So play a Forest. Sylvan Scrying. Oh, they are playing Force of Negation. Interesting. Alright, pass the turn. So next turn, depending on what happens, we can probably play Karn Great Creator and just uptick on Chalice. Unless my opponent has another counter spell, which, I mean, they probably do, but it's not like we're doing anything else. So play Karn. Okay. Pass the turn. Opponent draws. They're passing on their end step. Take out Chalice. We weren't casting Ancient Stirrings anyway. Okay, opponent counter spells. If we top deck Power Plant, this game is, I'm pretty sure, over. Okay, that is not Power Plant, unfortunately. Pass the turn, and we can't cast it. Don't have double green. Opponent plays to Fairy. They uptick him. No fourth land. Come on. Power Plant one time. Pass the turn. That's bad. That's real bad. That's 2 bricks right in a row. Now opponent potentially has access to Cryptic. They did not uptick to Fairy or downtick him. We draw a Veil, which unfortunately also doesn't really do anything. I mean, we can pitch it to Force, at least. Opponent is trying real hard to draw lands. Oh, I can't pitch it to Force because I can't cast anything on my opponent's turn. We got a top deck Power Plant. I mean, or something else that maybe we can cast. Okay, another counter spell. Opponent cracks Misty. Opponent cracks Flooded Strand. They play an island. They uptick to Fairy to 7. They only got 2 cards in hand. We get a Blast Zone. Pass the turn. I can tick Blast Zone up to 3. Okay, they down tick to Fairy to draw a card. They Archmage's Charm to draw more cards. They play a land. So I am going to put Blast Zone on 3. Untap. Okay, we drew the Power Plant. So... preempt... Oh, that doesn't work. Oh, I'm good at this game. So good at this game. Play Karn. I will sack Sanctum, and I will get Ulamog. Because any land then gets us to Ulamog. Opponent pretty much has to counter this. They have another Dovin's Veto. Okay. Okay, opponent cracks Misty for an island. They untap. Big Fairy. They uptick him. So they're going to have 4 mana, and they get an extra card. And they downtick Little Teferi. Play Castle. Alright, this is not unwinnable, but it will be difficult. All is Dust. Should force a counterspell. Yep. We just have to hope that there's a narrow window where we can sneak something through. And of course, Ulamog demands an answer and can't, his ability can't be countered. But opponent is drawing so many extra cards right now. They play a new 3-mana Teferi. Downtick him to draw again. They play a land. So if we don't draw land, we play Karn. If we do draw land, we play Ulamog. Okay. Play Karn. Is that the whole playset? 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the whole playset. I mean, they've gone through half their deck, so it's not that unlikely, right? And now they're going to start really manipulating their top deck. The Archmage's Charm after ticking up their Planeswalkers. Play land. A second Chalice on 1. Oh, so many Force of Vigors, and we can't cast any of them. I mean, if I crack Blast Zone, I can, right? But I have to pitch a Force of Vigor to a Force of Vigor to do that. Okay, so on their upkeep, destroy 3-mana Teferi. Force-killing Chalice. And we basically just have to hope we top deck a Tron land into Ulamog to stay alive, and then Kozilek hopefully gives us enough sustain. Okay, that is not what is going to happen. So Teferi is about to ult. We literally cannot draw enough mana to cast Ulamog. Veil of Summer does not do anything. Alright, so on to game 3. That was close. I think we stay set up the way we are. Yeah, in the Control versus Tron matchup, generally they have enough counter spells to counter all of your stuff, but that only works if they get an opportunity to start drawing extra cards a turn. Like if you stumble for a turn and you have nothing to cast, then give them an opportunity to play an engine, you're just dead. And that's unfortunately what happened last game. This hand is not keepable. This hand might be. So we'll keep, put back Kozilek. There's a few different things we have to dodge, but Natural Tron is a good start. Natural Tron with threats. Okay, opponent mulliganed all the way to 5. So maybe there's hope. They lead on Polluted Delta. We draw Force of Vigor, play Mine, pass the turn. Okay, opponent cracks Polluted Delta. for an island into a glacial fortress. We untap. We draw forest. Play an Urza's Tower. Play Karn, Great Creator. Okay, they have the counterspell. I'm going to cycle to see if I can't hit a Veil of Summer here. Dang, wrong 1-mana green spell. Ancient Stirrings. Get a redundant tower. Rest of the bottom. Oh, if we'd have drawn a Veil there, it would have been game over. Do we just go get Liquid Metal Coating with the remainder of our mana? So if our opponent has a Spreading Seas here, that's probably the worst. Counterspell is, of course, also bad. Play Forest. Play Karn. Another Counterspell. So we can either hold up Force of Vigor for like a Spreading Seas, potentially, or we can Ancient Stirrings. And I think we Ancient Stirrings. Okay. Another Karn on deck. I mean, if we dumped 2 Veil of Summers to the bottom, but if we happen to draw one, it's definitely game. But play another Urza's Tower. Play Karn. Tron versus Counterspell Tron, and not the blue kind. Alright, we untap. Well, Yavimaya at least lets us cast Force of Vigor. So I'm going to play Yavimaya. There's always the chance my opponent Spreading Seas that Power Plant, and then we still have Power Plant. Even if like Force of Vigor were to get countered. Man, if we could draw Ulamog, this game is over. Just need my Ulamog. Come on. Kozilek would be fine too. I dumped Kozilek to the bottom at the start, but alright. I play Chromatic Sphere. Attack it for green. Ancient Stirrings. There it is. I mean, if they counter it, then like... I was going to say, if they counter it, and they just get running lands, and we draw nothing, then they could win. So even from that position... Yeah, man, like... I get it. You got really unlucky, and I'm not going to say that like I won because I'm good. I'm going to say you got really unlucky. So, alright, I'll see you guys in round 4. Well, we're on the play. 2/3 of Tron with method to get third. We're against a Giganta deck, which means this is probably Tron, and we're going to keep. Yeah, so if this is Tron, we almost certainly win. If it is not Tron, then it remains to be seen. And by win, I mean win this game. I don't mean win the match. Generally, Green Tron versus Green Tron matchup is who can interact with whose mana first. And sometimes that means Ghost Quarter is enough, and other times it means it is not. Now, if we had Ghost Quarter in this deck, I would be tempted to Ghost Quarter for Surgical. Or to Expedition Map for Ghost Quarter and then Surgical, but... Oh, never mind. Alright, play mine. Pass the turn. Want to play his tower. So let's go ahead and map for tower. Untap. Draw Ancient Stirrings. Play tower. Play Karn. Game's over. Opponent understands. And they definitely didn't have any weird tricks to get out of that. Alright. Quadra Force coming in. Opponent sent me a message. I don't know how to get to it from this menu, opponent. I'll look at it in a minute, I promise. All is Dust, Ugin coming out, and we don't really have a way to get our opponent's lands into the grave other than Sundering Titan, so I think Surgical's just got to come out, and we'll try it like this. Opponent says sometimes it be like that. Indeed it do, opponent. Indeed it do. Alright, well we got 2/3 of Tron. If we top deck a green source and our opponent starts map, we will be Force of Vigoring the map. Because potentially that delays my opponent a whole turn. If we don't draw a green source, of course, we're just going to try and map our way to Tron. Hopefully faster than our opponent will. Alright, well we are going to keep. Opponent did mulligan to 6. They lead on Mine Relic. Alright. Well, that doesn't mean they don't have Tron. We draw Ancient Stirrings. Play Mind Map. Pass the turn. We do have a green spell now for Force, which is good. They play a Power Plant. We untap. We draw a Chromatic Sphere. Play a Tower. Pass the turn. So if they go Karn Great Creator into Liquid Metal Coating, we can deal with the Liquid Metal Coating on their turn, which means then we could play our own Karn Great Creator and make things awkward. There's Tron. We're going to try and fight it out. So go get Power Plant. We draw Forest. Play a Power Plant. Play Sphere. Sack Sphere for green, get an Ulamog, Ancient Stirrings. Get another Chromatic Star, rest at the bottom. Pass the turn. There is an awkward scenario where my opponent's holding 5 lands and down ticks Karn here. There's also a way less awkward scenario where we just get Ulamogged out of the game. Upticking here would definitely be incorrect, yeah. Okay. So draw Yavi Maya, play Star off of Power Plant, play Forest, sack Star for green, get an Ancient Stirrings, Ancient Stirring. Warping Whale? Yep, okay. Pass the turn. So we have to dodge a threat for like 4 turns, which is not likely to occur. Especially not with that happening. Well, they just picked up Ulamog, so sometimes it'd be like that. Isn't that right, opponent? Alright, yep. The good news is we are on the play for round 3, and as long as we keep a reasonable, like, turn 3 Tron into mana threat, we can win. I'd like to play first. It is an enormous advantage. Opponent sided into 61 cards. That seems suspicious. Well, it's turn 3 Tron. But we've gotta find a threat, because if we don't, we're just toast. All right, that is a threat, but that is a turn 4 threat. Pass the turn. I'm gonna leave up Warping Whale, because if they go for Sylvan Scrying here, I will counter it. Actually, if they go for Ancient Stirrings, I will counter it. What is it gonna be? What you got, opponent? Ancient Stirrings. Let's go ahead and counter. Oh, that's not a Tron land. That's very bad for our opponent. We untap. We draw another Urza's Mine. So, map for tower. Play tower. Play star. Sack Star for green. Draw a card. Another map. Sylvan Scrying. Get a redundant tower. Pass the turn. Now, Kozilek does not end the game on the spot, so there's still the possibility that my opponent assembles Tron the turn after we cast Kozilek, and then just like Karns our Kozilek. But us drawing 4 cards probably wins us the game. Alright, opponent scoops. But that's just how the Tron versus Tron goes. It's green Tron versus green Tron is very, very coin flip dependent. And I think so somebody brought it up to me that Gigantha was a card that you could wish for Force of Vigor, and without thinking about it harder, I was like, that might actually give Gigantha some utility. But then somebody else posted and said, oh, by the way, Gigantha's like companion restriction wouldn't let you cast, or wouldn't let you put Force of Vigor in your main deck, and I was like, oh, so it's just totally useless. I really sincerely think that playing Gigantha is incorrect in Tron. Just having like a random 5/5 beat stick matters almost 0% of the time. And when I say almost 0%, I mean such a small percentage that it might as well be 0. I've played a lot of Tron, and I cannot tell you the number of times that I've been in an end game situation that I was like, I need to draw something, anything, and anything does not include a 5/5 for 5 ever. Like Thrag Tusk is a better card. I understand the whole like, well, for 8 mana, you know, you're wishing it out of your sideboard. It's just like an 8th card in hand. But like, you're not playing Walking Ballista, you're not playing Chalice of the Void, and you're not playing Force of Vigor. All 3 of those cards, I think, are better in that slot than Gigantha is. So, but and you saw it like Force of Vigor. Did Force of Vigor matter? I thought Force of Vigor mattered. I'm getting very tired and delirious and loopy, and I really just need to finish this round 5. So I'll see you guys there. Oh, and GG, Aiden Can. GG. Alrighty, we're on the play for round 5, and this hand is not keepable. This one's not really keepable either. God, if I mulligan to 4, I basically have to have, like, Tron threat. I'm gonna keep this, even though it's abysmally slow, and I'm gonna put back Forest. And, okay, so I can put back Sylvan Scrying, I can put back Ancient Stirrings, or I can put back Surgical. I'm gonna put back a Sylvan Scrying. That may prove to be incorrect. I'm keeping the Surgical on the off chance it's going to matter against an opponent. Okay, the Urza's Mine actually is huge. We just need to top deck a threat, and we have Tron plus threat on turn 4, provided nothing gets countered, and we draw a threat. Alright, I don't like that. Okay, that's good. That's good. I like where this is going. Play a Mine, Sylvan Scrying. At this point, I'm just kind of like hoping to bait a counterspell. Get a tower. Pass the turn. I could surgically extract this land. Don't think it's a good idea. Consider Spell Pierce. So this is either like Esper Reanimator or I was going to say Esper Reanimator or Phoenix, but I think it's Esper Reanimator. That would seem to be the case. So if they ditch their threat, go for the Reanimate, we top deck a threat, that's how we win. And the Surgical Extraction would have been absolutely worth the keep. I was going to say, if nothing happens for like another couple of turns, there's a good chance we can just win. Oh, this does highlight a situation where Surgical Extraction is actually massive in comparison to like a Relic of Progenitus or a Grafdigger's Cage here. Because my opponent's playing a Prismatic Ending deck, and they would just never go for it here. So they do have Murktide Regent, and that's their only other way to win. Yeah, it's just Murktide Regent. We have to dodge. Okay, we draw Warping Whale, play Power Plant, pass the turn. They Thought Scour themselves, but they Thought Scour us, milling a Karn and a Sanctum. Draw on Urza's Mind, play a tower, pass the turn. God, we just need a threat. I did not take note of what was in their hand. I should have. That does make things easier. Nice. Guys, Surgical's so good! It's so good. Alright, let me look up Esper Reanimator here. So they'll play Terastodon out of the sideboard. They'll play Spreading Seas. They've got Chalice of the Void and like Flusterstorm. Okay. So, Veil of Summer in. Oh wait, hang on. How many sorceries do they play? They have Prismatic Ending, Thoughtseize, Persist, Unmarked Grave, and Burial Rites. So Warping Whale matters. Wormcoil less so. Ugin cannot kill Archon. All is Dust can, but then they just reanimate it, right? We need at least like a couple of Force of Vigors in the deck. Maybe that means we only bring in one, or we only bring in 2 out of 3 Veils, and we just cut Wormcoil Engine entirely. That's a little sketchy. I like having... I always like having 1 Wormcoil in the main deck, but we can do a lot better than this. I believe this is considered a lot better than the previous hand. I'm going to put back an Ancient Stirrings. Okay, opponent leads on Darkslick Shores. They did mulligan pretty low. Play Chromatic Sphere, pass the turn. Okay, opponent considers. Leaves it on top. They untap. They play a Flooded Strand. We untap. Draw a Force of Vigor. Sack Star for green. We get a Surgical. That makes me feel a lot better. We get an Urza's Mine, which is also pretty fantastic, considering we've got the last Tron piece in hand. All right. Things are looking up right now. Like, we just have to dodge like Spreading Seas, I think. Okay, opponent plays a Polluted Delta. We draw a Forest. Play a Tower. Play Karn, Great Creator. Resolves. What could be in their hand? It's got to be like a Faithful Mending. No, they would have played that last turn if they had it. So I can try and interact with their mana next turn. And I'm going to do that. And I'm getting Liquimetal Coating over Trinisphere because this way I can still cast Surgical if I need to. Okay. If they fetch white mana, it's because they have Prismatic Ending. Ah, interesting. Shut off Hollowed Fountain. They consider again. Putting a Hollowed Fountain in the grave. Why would you... What did you keep, opponent? That's what I want to know. That might have been a misclick, actually. Because this is a long pause. They're going to Surgical my Chromatic Sphere. They're going to look at what's in my hand. Alright. Well, they see I'm holding a Surgical. And a Force of Vigor. So they can't just go for it. I'm not sure how they would. But they cannot just go for it. They play an island. So they're going to Spreading Seas, not Power Plant, I think is what's going on. A Murktide Regent. Oh, okay, so they were powering up Murktide. I see what's happening. Alright, if I draw a tower, I think they're toast. That is not a tower. Do they have a 1-mana answer to Sundering Titan? Spell Pierce wouldn't do it. Flusterstorm wouldn't do it. Let's play it safe. Alright. Plains, Swamp, Island. Play Chromatic Star. Alright, so you can kill my Karn Great Creator if you want. And I'm following it up with an Ulamog next turn. Yeah, buddy. And in typical Kano fashion, after throwing round 1, we go 4-1. Alright, let's open up our treasure chests, and then I'm going to bed. Treasure chest number 1. 5 play points, and extended art, not Ragavan. And, see, Jaren Avatar, and a Livewire Lash. Alright. Treasure chest number 2. 5 play points, a Giver of Runes, and Null Profusion. Man, Null Profusion is a card that I tried to break on several occasions. And unfortunately, for just 1 more black mana, still at the 6 cost slot, you can just play Bolus's Citadel, which is like this card, but on steroids, and with easier synergies, because it's an artifact. But Giver of Runes, I'm pretty sure is worth something. Treasure chest number 3. 5 play points. A Homura Human Ascendant. Never seen that card before. And a Tidal Kraken. Treasure chest number 4. 5 play points. Oath of Liliana and a Terranica. I have no idea how to pronounce that. I'm sorry. The Akroan Veteran. And final treasure chest. Treasure chest number 5. We get 5 play points. Ooh. An extended art promo Soul Ring. Flesh Taker and Liliana's Contract. I don't think that Soul Ring is worth anything, but I can check really quick. Promo Magic Online. Pro Magic. Where is it? Where is it? Is it? It's not listed? That might actually be worth something if that's not listed. Hang on. It's also possible that they just have like the wrong art posted. It's a card that has 1 million printings. Okay, the extended art. Hang on. At most, it's worth like $10, I think. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know. I can't actually find that listed anywhere. So, all right. Well, hope you guys enjoyed this content. If you did, of course, please leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel if you're so inclined. And remember, you can follow me on Twitch. Same username over there as you find me on here. I stream Wednesdays in the afternoon, sometimes the evening. And yeah, I've got some mono black edits coming up. Now, this video came out on Tuesday, and I'll be streaming streaming Wednesday, and this is being recorded Monday night. So the normal Wednesday video might be delayed a day as well because of this. We'll have to see, because I'm going to need some time to catch up on sleep. And I do not want to be a zombie on stream, because I kind of was last time, and I just don't want to repeat that. So I really think that this is my gut instinct on what the closest to the best Tron list is right now. Now, I understand not having Force of Vigors. I understand, maybe even like not having the surgicals and stuff like that. I do think they are best in slot. I think if you need to make a budget replacement, if you're playing at the highest level, I would really strongly consider playing a different deck if you can. If you must make a budget substitution, I recommend playing, instead of Force of Vigors, I recommend playing the Wilt, I think, is still probably the second best artifact destruction spell, because you really need to be able to dodge Chalice of the Void. I mean, you could play like Krosan Grip with all the control running around. It's just there's less spells versus control that you need to absolutely remove with a Naturalize effect. If I would probably end up playing like 4 Veil of Summer, a couple of Wilt, and then maybe even expanding like the Karn Great Creator Wish board if you can't fill out those other Force of Vigor slots. In the main deck, if you can't make Surgicals, you probably have to play Relic, but it's a lot worse. Soul Guide Lantern might be a better decision, and there's Relic I think is more generally useful. Soul Guide Lantern's useful if you're playing in a deck if you're playing against a deck that the graveyard matters a lot. Having a lot of cards in the graveyard, because you can sack it, I think, without paying mana. The only reason that I say Soul Guide Lantern might be better than Relic is for just like you could still like sack it in response to like Prismatic Ending, but there's not that many decks that want to use the graveyard that are also playing Prismatic Ending, except for that Reanimator deck that I just played. I don't know how many people are going to be playing that in paper. I have no idea what the paper metagame's like. If there is a paper metagame right now, I know there's some tournaments in some places, and there have been. Like, I went to a pre-release, so I know they must happen, right? But I think a lot of my advice is going to be tailored more to if you're playing in the Moto metagame than if you're playing at home. Now, a lot of my general strategy for the deck, I think, is fine. I think it's a reasonably sound thing that I'm pretty consistent, pretty comfortable with. But specifically tuning a sideboard to a metagame is not something I am particularly good at. Just whatever you do, don't play Crucible of Worlds and don't play Gigantha. Those cards are really, really bad in Tron for a numerous set of reasons. And that's no harp on my opponent that was playing Gigantha. On paper, the fact that you potentially have like a late game, you always have like, because we had a couple of games where we were just top decking lands, right? And on paper, just having something makes sense. Having access to the 8th card in your hand for 3 extra mana for basically free versus control decks, there might be some game to that, right? But like, I think in the overwhelming majority of cases, I think Gigantha is actually a trap. It's something that might appear good, but not is not actually good. I would rather play like a Walking Ballista in the sideboard or some other threat like that. And Crucible of Worlds is just bad versus everything all the time. Never play it in Tron ever. It's so bad, especially with all the surgical extractions running around. Like, it's so bad. Just think about it for a minute. If you're still on the side of I want to play Crucible of Worlds in my sideboard, that's condition number 1. And condition number 2 is, Crucible of Worlds isn't your favorite pet card in the game that you just want to run in a deck because it's Crucible of Worlds. If you don't meet those 2 conditions, don't play Crucible, because there is no situation where it is good. None. Because whatever situation you're trying to contrive, if you're still following this line of logic to say that it's a good card, is either overwhelmingly, almost statistically impossible to find yourself in, or not actually a situation that you'll find yourself in, period. So I did a big rant on it in a different video. I wish I would link to it if I thought about it. But anyway, I gotta get to bed. You guys are wonderful. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye! Hey, just wanted to give a shout out to my patrons for the month of September. You guys have been a huge help, greatly supporting the channel and allowing me to acquire new cards. And if you want to have your name in this list and get a shout out at the end of the video, there's a link to the Patreon in the description down below. Thank you.